On Thursday, June 27th, State Representative Seth Bongartz of Manchester kicked off his campaign for election to the Vermont State Senate. A crowd of supporters gathered in Manchester Village to hear from him and several others, including Attorney General Charity Clark, about his campaign to replace outgoing Senator Brian Campion, who announced earlier that he would not be running for re-election this year. At the campaign launch party, Bongartz gave his reasons for returning to the state Senate, where he served once before, from 1987 to 1989. He is currently serving his second term in the State House of Representatives, to which he was elected in 2020. Previously, he had also served in the State House as a state representative from 1981 to 1985. Education was one of the themes his supporters returned to, given some of the uncertainty statewide about the proper level of public support should be the case for independent schools, like Bennington Academy and Long Trail School.
You've all heard a lot about the threat to independent schools that underpins, at least in part, my decision to run for the Senate. I'm obsessed with it, and it will be front and center every single day, just as it has been during my time in the House. The NEA and some others are perversely obsessed with killing our system of independent schools and public schools living side by side and working together. But I want to go a little further here tonight, and Mark set this up nicely, than just talking about defending independent schools, as important as that is. Obviously, and just like everybody in this room, and Mark said, what I really care about is kids. Schools are just a vehicle for preparing them for the productive, healthy, happy futures we hope they can attain. So if elected to the Senate, I want to change the discussion from one of managing the destructive impulses of others, it's exhausting, by the way, to how we can provide the kind of opportunities our independent schools provide to all kids in all schools. That's really the challenge.
Mark Tashin, the headmaster of Bennington Academy, and Colin Igo, the head of school at Long Trail School, also voiced their support for Bongartz's candidacy, as did Attorney General Charity Clark.
It's so important that we have good representation, people who are in touch with what's happening in their communities and what the needs are, and can be an effective voice, because that's two different things sometimes. Some people might be really good at knowing their communities, but they're not effective in the State House. But let me be the witness in Montpelier watching this man be so effective in his quiet leadership. We had some really important issues that, even though I'm the Attorney General and I have nothing to do with this issue, when I go around the state, all I hear about wherever I go is, can you do anything about housing? And the answer for me is, unfortunately, basically no, but it's so frustrating. Well, Seth has made incredible strides in the House of Representatives on the issue of housing. His leadership and voice on Act 250, his creativity, his ability to collaborate with other people, and he's obviously extremely smart too, that goes without saying.
Seth is the right thing to do in this situation at this time for our community. He believes, not only, I want to say, in the school system that I think Colin so eloquently described, which is the one in this specific area, but when you expand what being the senator of Bennington County means, Seth believes in kids, and Seth believes in schools, and I have no doubt you will fight to make Mount Anthony the best school it can possibly be. You will fight to make Arlington the best school it can possibly be. This is not about independent schools and public schools. This is about kids needing the best education possible to be prepared for the world that we're facing. And it is a complex world, and it is a difficult world at times.
How lucky we are to have this system where all kids have an opportunity to thrive and find a place that fits them well. And I could tell, endless stories, but this about Seth, because as we all know, there are fierce and powerful forces that want to get rid of that system. Yeah. And Seth is not just an advocate, but a vocal and intelligent and thoughtful and committed, passionate advocate for our system. And I think without that system, a lot of the wonderful things about living in this part of the world, they're at risk, right? It's more than just schools, it's our families, it's our economy, and of course we all care deeply that our children and are well educated. And so I can't say enough. I mean, Seth, anytime that I've asked anything, the answer is yes, and how can I help? He's presented to our board, he's picked up the phone, when things were in moments that were uncertain or challenging, will call and ask the question, right? He's curious, he's committed, and he is also someone who I know when goes to Montpelier will pull people in to make sure that our part of the state, while we may not have the population of Chittenden County, it's crucial that builds partners and allies in protecting this.
Bongartz enters a race for state senate for Bennington County that will be a little unusual. Shortly after Brian Campion announced he would not be running for re-election for one of the 2 Senate seats from Bennington County, Senator Dick Sears, the other state senator, passed away after serving in the state senate for 32 years, opening up the other seat. But Sears passed away after the dates when candidates could file petitions to be on the ballot. No other candidates had emerged, and still hadn't as of July 1st, to challenge Sears. His name will still be on the ballot for the voting that will be taking place on Tuesday, August 13th, during the state primary election. On the Republican side, Joe Jervis of Arlington, who ran in 2022 for the State House from the Bennington 4 district, that includes the towns of Manchester, Arlington, Sandgate, and part of Sunderland, has thrown his hat into the ring for the state senate race as well. Cynthia Browning, a former state representative who served in the legislature from 2007 to 2021, is also running, but as an independent. And so her name will not be on the primary ballots in August, but will be on the November general election ballot. In the August 13th primary, the Democrat ballot will read, "Vote for not more than 2," and the candidates will be Sears and Bongartz on the ballot. If Dick Sears wins the Democratic primary, after the primary his name will be withdrawn due to death, and the Democratic Party committee will have 7 days to nominate a candidate to take that place in the November general election. And on Tuesday, July 2nd, it was reported in the Bennington Banner that Jim Plunkett, an attorney with the state's attorney's office in Bennington, will be entering the race as a Democrat and running as a write-in candidate. We will be continuing to cover the candidates and the local political races as we go forward into November. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.